Hi folks, welcome to Nursing 624. I realize that many of you are just now finishing up 623, so you're probably getting wrapping up emails from that course, but also picking up lots of email traffic now from these new courses opening. So instead of sending you another welcome email, I thought I would send you a welcome video. I realize that if you're anything like I am, you read the first bullet point of an email and then you move on very quickly and skim the rest of it. We get email fatigue. So I'm hoping to spend a few minutes with you just to give you an overview of the course and hit some highlights for you so that as you move forward in the course, you have a general idea of what to expect. Many of you, I looked at the roster and was excited to see some familiar names, so I am delighted to have you guys back. If for some reason you've missed me, I'm happy to meet you and look forward to working with you. My philosophy from a teaching standpoint is really to approach the course much like a servant leadership role, but in the position of an educator. Patrick Robinson in 2009 wrote an article that did a great job of talking about what servant leadership looked like. And he wrote about how nurse educators or educators in general needed to have judicious use of power. They needed to listen and demonstrate empathy in a course. They needed to have some willingness to change. If they found out that something wasn't working in a course, that they needed to be flexible and move towards finding something that does work. They needed to demonstrate a reflective practice and to be contemplative of what their behaviors in a course and their engagement with students, how that impacted the student and whether it was beneficial to them. They also, Dr. Robinson also suggested at trying to be collaborative and work with a consensus model in a course. So if there was an issue, there was a concern, that feedback was sought and looking at the general wellness, the general well-being of the student population was encouraged. And I really like the idea of really partnering with you to help you get what you need from this course. It is your second practicum course, so you do have a set of goals and objectives that you established in 623. Those goals and objectives are going to move with you throughout this course, as well as 624, 625, and 626. So if for some reason you find that you are needing to make changes to your goals and objectives, or you need to add goals and objectives, those need to be sent to me by email. We'll discuss them, make appropriate changes, and we'll repost a new set. It's not uncommon to have to adjust goals and objectives, but know that that's an approval process, just like your first set when you go through it with me. In general, communication is very much like every other course you've had. Know that there is an Ask the Professor link. If you have general questions, feel free to post those there, and know that I will get back with you as quickly as possible. But again, the Ask the Professor link in the discussion board is for general information. Your discussion boards, you'll have 2 of those in this course. That's a way for you to connect with one another, excuse me, and share information excuse me, with each other. The last way that we'll communicate is through personal email. Feel free to send me any questions you have specific to your own circumstance, something related to your grade or feedback that you were provided. Send me that email directly so that you and I can have a dialogue and an exchange and help you understand what's going on, or for you to provide me feedback and us to make adjustments as we need to. I'm happy if we do have a sticky situation and it requires more thought and more time, I may ask that you have a phone call with me. And I'm normally super flexible about times to meet and talk on the phone. So know that there may be times that may be necessary. From a feedback standpoint, you're going to get feedback from me very, very quickly. It will always be within the week after you have submitted an assignment. I'll provide that feedback. If you ever have questions about the feedback that's been provided, I don't want you to hesitate to send me an email or give me a call and say, Dr. Hudgens, I have no idea what this means. And ask me to provide you more clarity, or ask me questions that are specific to your assignment so that you can make sure that first that you understand the feedback and that I understand where you are in your learning process and understand how I can better meet your needs. Sometimes we're going to have to talk about things to make sure that we're both on the same page. So I do welcome your feedback. I welcome your questions. As you move through the course, I want to just touch briefly about your practicum logs. There are several tools that are available in our Blackboard site. There is a tutorial, and then there is a script that will tell you what goes in which box when we look at your practicum logs. Your first box is your objectives. The objectives that go in that box need to be numbered with the objective and the goal and the objective. That way I can trace back to your original goals and objectives and know what you're talking about. Only include the goals and objectives that go in that day's work. Each log, like the actual file, has 8 pages. In each page, a page is the equivalent of a day. So if you were on your unit for 12 hours, those 12 hours are going to be included in one page of the 8-page file. If you were in your clinical, if your first practicum log that is due in week 4 and you were in your unit for 5 different occasions, 5 different days, you're going to have a page for each one of the days that you were in there, but you will only be submitting a single file. Please do not submit a file for every single day. Please do not break up all your goals and objectives and put one goal and objective on one page, a second goal and objective on another page. Each page is to reflect a day. Okay, now that being said, once you get your goals and objectives squared away, everything's on one page. The first box, goals and objectives. Your second box is your supportive narrative. Folks, this is where you put what you did. This is the logistics. And you have to include your personal reflections of what the day meant to you. What aha moments did you have? What things did you learn that you didn't think you were going to learn? What pearls of wisdom did you take away from the interaction that you watched at a leadership meeting? What nuggets of new insight that you didn't know that now you know? Maybe you saw a conflict that occurred during a meeting and your thoughts were, oh my heavens, I would never behave that way in a public way. Or that someone managed a conflict really well. Or maybe you were just overwhelmed. What happened during that day? What were your thoughts and reflections? So you're going to give me the logistics. You're going to tell me the who, what, where, when, and how. And then you're going to tell me why it mattered. What were your thoughts? What were your reflections? Folks, I know you're probably wondering why we care, but I want you to know that what you think about your events, what you think about your practicum is actually where you're integrating lessons learned. It's where most learning happens, in that reflection of those events, and that's why it matters. That's box 2, your supportive narrative. Your last box, which is your application, that is where you tell me how all the stuff in box 2 aligns with the ANA scope and standards. Folks, you need to cite a specific standard that work that's related to it. You need to tell me how it relates to the ANA scope and standards. You need to give me just a little detail. I do not expect a thesis. I do not expect pages and pages of work. Tell me which scope and standard your work applies to that day and why it applies to it. It may be that you have 2 or 3 scope and standards that it applies to. Tell me what they are, tell me why, and then you need to cite the ANA scope and standards. If you do all of those things, you're going to be successful in your practicum log. The first 2, actually the scope and standards, all of that is expected throughout it. So if you have questions about this, first go to the Blackboard, look at the tutorials, and then send me questions. I want you to be successful, but I want you to know that much is expected out of this process to make sure that you're getting what you need out of your practicum experience. As we move through the course, guys, know that I'm here. I'm cheering for you. I want you to be successful. My expectations of you in this course is that you treat each other and myself with positive regard and respect. You will certainly, it's reasonable for you to expect that from me and from your classmates. I want you to be respectful of the policies and procedures that are made available to you in the MSN handbook and in our core syllabus. I want you to be timely in your submission of your work. We do have a late policy, so if something happens and you need to turn something in a little bit late, know that within the policy I will accept your work, but we will be applying the late policy and the penalties that are associated with that. And the last thing I would tell you is to really working with integrity. It is important that all of your work in this course is original work, that you do not use any portion or whole parts from other courses and apply it to a paper in this course. All work has to be original. And lastly, know that I'm praying for you. Know that I want you to be successful. Know that these practicum courses are so, so important to your graduate work. And I really want to hear your stories. I want to hear your experiences. And I want to know that you're growing, you're learning, and you're being challenged. At the end of this course, I hope you walk away feeling like your time was well spent and that it was valued and that you got something out of it. But you have new tools in your toolbox. If that's the end result of this course, then you and I have done our job well, and we've really honored our talents and our gifts. That's about it. I will look forward to sending you your virtue next week and touching base and letting you know what's going on my side of the world. Know that occasionally I'll be sending feedback videos to you. Every once in a while, a cat may walk across the screen, or Madeline the puppy may be chewing on a bone or jump up and want to say hello. I try not to re-record these videos because this is the real me. Dog, cat, husband, every once in a while he'll walk through too. This is my world, and I want you to know that I'm living in it, and I'm here for you. I hope you guys are having a great rest of the week and wrapping up 623, and that you're almost excited to be joining me in 624 as I am with you. Y'all take care.